Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution and all of the aspects of the presidency that have evolved since then. You can see how the founders sort of laid out the bare bones outline of the presidency, and then it developed quite a bit over time. And certainly in the 20th century is when it's really picked up speed in its development, and how often we how much of the presidency has evolved since the time of the founding. But I think it's safe to say that much of the American presidency, the seed of what we get in the presidency, was there from the beginning. And you can see this in certain papers, like when I had you read for this week, Federalist 23. What does Alexander Hamilton have to say here about the presidency? Hamilton, like we said, James Madison paid more attention to Congress. He defended the House of Representatives in Federalist 57, and the Senate, Federalist 63, which we looked at. Here, Alexander Hamilton picks up the presidency. He had a stronger view of the presidency than Madison had, even though which one of them served as president? Madison did, right? Hamilton never did. Why was that? Hamilton was born in Barbados, which was a British colony. He wasn't born in the U.S. So even though he really was kind of one of the main creators of the U.S. presidency, he himself never served in that office. So yeah, Federalist 23 then, what does he say? Somebody read for me that second paragraph. Yeah, go ahead. Or, I'm sorry, the authorities essential.
The authorities essential to the common defense are these: to raise armies, to build and equip fleets, to prescribe rules for the government of both, to direct their operations, to provide for their support. Right, good. Yeah, lots of military stuff, right? To fund it, to make it go when there is a military conflict, lots of defense spending, right? Why is that? I think it's a question I asked you. What does Hamilton say here? And he underlines it to emphasize his point. These powers ought to exist what? Should we put shackles on it? Should we have constitutional checks and balances to prevent the power of the presidency in wartime? No. He says they ought to exist how? Without limitation.
Yeah, good. Without limitation. Why? And I think it's a question I asked you. Because, he underlines this to make his point, right? Because it is impossible to foresee or define the extent and variety of national exigencies, surprises, or the corresponding extent and variety of the means which may be necessary to satisfy them. You can't foresee every mishap that may come up in national life, and so you need to have an office designed to meet that challenge, no matter what it might be. Circumstances that endanger the safety of a nation are infinite. For this reason, no constitutional shackles can wisely be imposed on the power to which the care of it is committed. Right? You don't want checks and balances getting in the way of the president doing what's necessary to defend the country. Right. Someone read for me the next paragraph there. This is one of those truths. Yeah, go ahead.
This is one of those truths which to a correct and unprejudiced mind carries its own evidence along with it, and may be obscured but cannot be made plainer by argument or reasoning.
Good. Sorry. Yeah, good. Yeah, it's an axiom, as he puts it, right? It rests on an axiom as simple as they are universal. And what is that axiom? Yeah, good.
The means ought to be proportionate to the end. The persons from whose agency the attainment of any end is expected ought to possess the means by which it is to be attained.
Right, yeah, so if we want the end of government, protecting our liberties, protecting our rights, like I said in the Declaration of Independence, we must be willing to grant that government the means necessary to carry it out. And those means have to exist without limitation, as he puts it. That seems very strange to us, doesn't it? You don't grant that kind of power to a government, because what will government do? Yeah, abuse that power, right? But Hamilton didn't see it that way. He said, well, only bad governments are abusive of power. Good governments make a good use of power. And a lot of this had to do with his understanding of the nature of the chief executive itself. So if you look at Federalist 70 then, skip ahead, what does Hamilton say? I'll find it here. Yeah. What does Hamilton